All right, we turn our attention to the United States, where the presidential inauguration that signifies a change in leadership has officially been concluded. Joe Biden was sworn in as the 46th president, and his vice, Kamala Harris, became the first female vice president in the history of the nation. Now, they came in at a time when the United States is so divided and dealing with a pandemic of a magnitude never witnessed in the country. Now that the ceremonies are over, President Joe Biden is wasting no time to kick off work and take bold actions and bring relief to American families. As part of his first moves, President Joe Biden on Wednesday signed an executive order rejoining the U.S. into the Paris Climate Accord. Now, more of such moves are expected in the coming days. Now, according to many analysts, much of his first term will go into undoing the perceived damage caused by Trump's tenure as president of the U.S. All right, that's part of what we'll be talking about right now. Joining me in the studio is Global Affairs Analyst Daniel Akinlami and Foreign Affairs Analyst Chuks Nwoko. Gentlemen, good morning and Happy New Year.
Good morning, thank you.
Great.
Morning,
Nice to see you both. Chuks, let me start with you here, because when I was reading the lines that, the perception is that President Trump is going to undo a lot of the damage that Trump had done. Yeah. I saw that there was a shaking somehow in your talk to us. Basically, Americans, a section of Americans feel that now we can breathe some fresh air. Others feel that, well, would have made America take America to another level?
I chuckled because in your monologue, exactly. There's something I do not. I needed to add my voice to. America has been a polarized country for so many decades. I needed to establish that. If you go back, politically speaking, if you go back to 1942 to 1950, a period of 8 years, which I'm very familiar with, the McCarthy era, when Senator Joseph McCarthy, me as a young man, I was like, is this how their politics is? Yeah, so I wanted to draw your attention to that. It's been a polarized place, a divided place and all that. But every time they've had major national issues, whether it's hurricane, whether it's external aggression, whatever it is, they have always come together. But politically speaking, the place has been a very deep divided place. But you also want to extend it to, way back the era of Abraham Lincoln. He was assassinated inside a cinema hall in New York. What was the issue at the time? Wanting to end slavery. Some states, not ready. Some individuals, vested interest and all that. And wanting to move those who wanted to return to Africa back to Africa. So it's been a polarized place. But they always come together when there is need. USA was echoed when there was needs to echo it outside of the shores. But you know that they've been there for the rest of us. Like I said, what they are going through now, if we allow it to deepen, and we are left, developing nations and other parts of the world are left in the hands of China or Russia, it will not be all go well. So the oneness of that nation is very important to us and all that. And change came in 2016 because they've done some things, in a particular way for a long time. And this political no fight was asked if he was going to contest election, and he said yes. And there were many undercurrents that took place before eventually agreed to come on. So he was an outsider. It was a political no fight. So the question that should bother a lot of us who are listening or who are even commentators is, how was it possible for an outsider, for a political no fight, for, let me use the word, a disruptive individual to make it to White House? It was because there was a change. But you know that change is not an easy thing. It was not accepted. It was not accepted. And so you have people who do not agree with the disruption. For me, I said a radio station that I listen to always in Lagos in my car every time I'm driving, and I always send them a text where I like your creative disruption of my life. Thank you guys. So change came here in Nigeria in 2015. It has still not been accepted because change removes you from a familiar place to things that are strange. I bring changes to my home and it's not accepted, or just that I have to enforce it.
Okay.
So that's what he brought and it was not accepted.
All right. I wonder if Daniel feels the same way, but the point there is the Trump era was, like he said, it was disruptive. But that disruption, of course, the change is the only constant thing in life. But that disruption, when you begin to weigh and assess the kernels and the benefit and the spoils of the disruption, when it relates to what the people like, how it impacts the system and how everything runs. Like he was saying, the oneness of America means a lot to the world and to so many Western countries and even developing countries and all of that. So when America, as the leader of the world, is, because of its disruptive change, is removing and winding up membership of international agencies and all of that, what signals do all of these things send?
Well, I agree with him. If we look at the Trump 4 years, it symbolizes that disruptive politics. And also, we should not forget the fact that Bernie Sanders almost repeated the same thing among the Democrats. You know, he started to galvanize the radicals. And one thing that is disruptive in the whole of this is that American politics as it is today, the system is not designed for this kind of radicalism. And you look at it, since he came into power in January 2017, he's faced a lot of challenges because a lot of people challenged the change. A lot of people didn't buy into it. So the whole of the 4 year was very tumultuous.
Turbulent.
Yes, for him. So, but the fate, what we need to take out of this globally is that the fate of democracy was seen hanging. Thank God that some vested individuals stood up, especially the Congress stood up to challenge what was happening. Because the insurrection of January 6th actually gave us that insight to this division we're talking about, that this has really gone far. Things have gone far. So, but what we can expect from this Biden's administration now is it needs to work hard, because the task is very enormous. It needs to work hard to restore faith in democracy. Because if you look at it globally, America's democracy is meant to continue as the shining light. And it represents so many things, especially to the West, and even developing countries as well. So Biden has a lot to do. He has promised in the speech yesterday to heal the country, unite the country, but we know that what is ahead is not an easy work. But globally speaking, some of the things that we need to also borrow from the incident of the past 2-3 weeks, starting from January 6th, is the fact that institutions are fundamental for sustaining democratic values. If the American institution collapse at the face of this insurrection, what we are talking today will be different.
Yeah, of course. We might be seeing another Mugabe or another, you know, any of those presidents in Trump, maybe, possibly. But the point there is, he's talking about institutions. I was discussing with some analysts yesterday. Now, we'll recall when everyone says, or it has become a conclusion that every country needs strong institutions to flow and just to keep it going. But there is also the argument that to have a strong institution in the first place, since in many sub-Saharan African countries we don't have those kind of established systems, you need strong men to be able to establish a strong system.
Exactly.
Is that what you believe?
Yeah, that's what I believe. When there is need for it. Now, you know that the American system, what they have above every other nation is the fact that whether it's military, whether it's media, whether it's those political institutions, they are deepened. That's the only difference. They've been around for such a long time, they've been tested and all that. But the events of the last 4 years, I mean, most times when we come to this studio, when we finish, your analysts finish their analysis and all they have to, you do a disclaimer, not just you. Many television stations, they do that. Why? Because you as a journalist here and a host of this program, you disconnect from whatever it is that myself and Daniel, have to say. We just found out from the practice of journalism and the media business in America that that's no longer so. It's become your duty as to begin to analyze
exactly.
So What is the essence?
They call it opinion journalism.
Exactly. So, if you bring, are you going to bring that here?
Nigeria,
are you going to bring that here?
We're not ripe for that
because
yet.
we are constantly copying things. Now, we are likely going to copy that. And you know that it might even be difficult for you to copy that kind of thing because you have a strong institution here that supervises you. You will be fined, you can be shut down. And we are borrowing from them. What has happened in the media in the last more than 4 years is something to cry about. Now, it's the same institutions that you're talking about, strong institutions. Why we need strong men is before that you have a collapsed public service and civil service in the United States, where you have people calling themselves whistleblowers. You have people working against a sitting government. The 9/11 happened. I've said it in this studio. There were reports before 9/11 happened. How that FBI, even in the state of Florida, have reports put on the tables of big guns in the institution, saying that there's something fishy about going on in this state, and in fact in other states, that something terrible is about to happen in the country. They didn't do anything. The same FBI is in the news for all the wrong reasons. So, if Trump came and found a way around about it, I think that it showed how that there is need sometimes for a strong man to rebuild, to bring a change, to bring accountability. He recognized that people were just lazy in the civil service hierarchy in the place. It's about corruption, it's about, all kinds of things, incompetence. And you wonder what is going on here. Do we need a strong man? And unfortunately, we had a strong man in 2016, and by yesterday has left office. He's done his part. But why? Because he loved his country, he indicated interest, and he has done his best as far as I'm concerned. Because sometimes we have had strong men today. You see, the Nigerian constitution that we constantly assault and abuse. Oh, the Nigerian constitution, the same institution that created that constitution, they have always risen to the occasion to provide a leadway for us in this country. The geopolitical zones that we use today conveniently for our politics, they created it. So sometimes,
but maybe some people would argue that they shouldn't even have
there
come
will
in
always
the
be an
first
argument.
place.
Mike, don't bother about argument.
No,
There will always be an argument.
Yeah,
but I'm describing to you a palpable evidence of the role of strong men. Sometimes we're fighting corruption today because one man is constantly mounting it, and the people in his cabinet are all quiet. So sometimes you need a strong man to be able to say this is the right way to do. And really, leadership is about being strong. Leadership is always about being strong. Well, if you are celebrating the emergence of Joe Biden, he's not a strong man. He belongs to a political party. They have the things they believe in. They have values they believe in. We don't believe in it, even in this country. So returning to international institutions that have rendered a country down. Look, United States have been owing United Nations their contributions for many decades. Are you aware? They have not been able to pay their subscription because they are just scattered all over the place and have left their own people, left their own military. All right. The British lost were dead heavy blow during the Second World War because they just dissipated their energies in their colonies and they didn't have the resources. That's what was about to happen to the United States. If that's not what happened.
But the point there is not a lot of people are going to agree with the fact that the United States, being the leader of the world, is going to unwind their membership of a lot of these things because they feel that they are dissipating or fragmenting their membership and
their resources.
Attention and resources.
Yes.
The point there is America also benefits from the entire world when it comes to that if you flip the coins. So the issue there is the interest of America in ensuring you keep the world together is to be in all of these things and also to impact the world. So that's what a lot of people see. But the point there is going forward now where we have a new dawn in the United States with President Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. What do you think are the tasks ahead will be in the coming days and weeks and months?
Well, I think the job is straightforward and is well cut out for Joe Biden. He said it in his speech yesterday as well, that he has to unite the country and the country needs to heal. So it will now depend on some of the actions that it will take in the next few days. It started with some executive orders yesterday, including the Paris Climate Agreement.
Rejoining it.
Rejoining the World Health Organization and stopping the work on the Mexico war project and so many of them like that. But those ones may actually not show us the direction of the rebuilding. In fact, some Republican members believe that undoing some of these Trump's actions does not also signify healing.
Yeah, the healing,
so
exactly.
He also has to progress, carefully.
But you recall that when Trump came in, he was also undoing some of the things former President Obama had done. So it's like what goes around comes around.
What Daniel is not telling you, let me quickly draw your attention to this.
Okay.
There's need, in fact, I guess that between now and tomorrow or early next week, there's a proposal that has already been made of $1.9 trillion to be made out to bring back businesses. And it's interesting that we know those people. He has already stated those who are getting the money. They include the Latinos and the blacks. In fact, let's summarize it. The whites are not going to get anything from that provision. So, and you want to heal. Look, let's be real. The people themselves are okay, but American politics, there's no amount of healing. You have look, this man that was sworn in, has been in government for close to 50 years. Do you know what that does? It makes you very lazy. It makes you have access to wealth.
Member of establishment.
Yes, those are the establishment.
But you don't think he also gives them the right experience?
They don't survive by working, by being entrepreneurs or enterprises. No. So this is a big problem until a new generation of Americans are voted to love their country the way Trump loved America, that he can work for 4 years without receiving any income, that can love his country. In fact, I'm even surprised they didn't kill him. But you see, these people, they don't mean well because they have fed on that nation for 50 years and above.
But shouldn't have given him the right experience to be able to handle the governance.
No, but he's very loquacious. He knows it all. He knows the connections are there and all that.
But
so it's not about hard work.
Not be going for him?
No, it's not about hard work. It's about self-interest. He has brought them back now. The Obama people, the Clinton people, the Clinton Foundation people, the foundations, many foundations, the people who made it possible for him, they're all back. And they're going to feed on taxpayers' money. They are mobilizing. You buy a toothpaste or a toothbrush, you pay tax. So they have money. So they will feed and continue to feed on that nation.
A lot of people also said under Trump, so many corporations also benefited in such ways. Isn't that he goes and comes?
What are the names of those corporations? What are the names of the corporations?
But the reality is that winning the American presidential election, forming government, is not a sure thing.
Yeah.
There's a lot of work to do. The Republicans are going to stand up to Biden. They're going to shut down many of his policies. And the biggest distraction he's going to have for these 4 years is Donald Trump himself. If you look at it, where Donald Trump is not walking away.
It's not.
He's even planning to form another party to jump out of the Republican. So he's not going to walk away. And remember the air deck he gave Obama, especially Obama's last 4 years. The kind of problem Trump gave Obama, even on his birth certificate, it was on it for many years. So Biden has a lot of work to do.
Yeah, but a lot of persons said it was just unnecessary distractions at the time. Okay. Now the point there is, let's talk about the vice president. One way or the other, the presidency has come to stay, but there's something new here on the block. Whether the ideology they are carrying or who they represent, that aside, but having the first female vice president in the United States, the first female that also has links to the blacks and has links to Indian Americans and all of that. What does this mean going forward for emancipation?
If you ask me, this is my personal, something that I have thought to myself. Yeah. I think there's an arrangement that's gone beyond just making her a vice president. Okay. She's eventually going to become a president during the course of these 4 years, and all of that has been worked out. I think so, because the Democrats don't just show you things to you to see. There are all kinds of things that go on in the background. So I think that they are not naive. They worked out a history for the nation and for that woman. Maybe after a year or 2 years, something will happen, then she can take up that position. But I think she's a good representation. It's a good move. Yeah. I think it's a good achievement. I think it's a great attainment for the women folk and all that and all that. Clinton didn't get, Hillary Clinton didn't get it. For a black woman to get it, I think that it's a great step in the right direction. It will give women that opportunity to see that they need to step up. They are doing well, but they need to take it a notch or two higher and all that. And it will be the responsibility of that woman to mobilize women globally and recognize that she's in a man's house. Because the home is where, that she's in. Because you see all these people, you see all these your people. They don't forget that in 1985,
you need to break it down.
In 1985, when that woman Hillary Clinton went to China, Beijing, to go and make that proclamation about 35%, whatever, that she's been in her husband's house with all the misdemeanor of her husband as a very responsible man. She has maintained living with a man, even as far back as when he was governor. Her commitment to the family and to a home should be a better example to our women who think that because they are working or they have 1,000 naira or dollars, no man can. No, the home is where everything starts from and ends. So that woman is not just a vice president, she's somebody's wife. And she lives with that man in the house. That is very, very important because the rate at which these people are destroying homes in the name of liberality and feminism, you can be a feminist and still be at home and raise children and be, and live with a man. And have a package. I think it's very important. So that culture that she takes to the presidency is also very important for the Americans themselves.
All right. Well, there's so much to talk about, but unfortunately, we are running out of time here now. Chus Nwoko, thank you so much for your insight. It's really interesting to have you around. Thank you.
Thank you for
Daniel Akinlami, thank you very much as well.
It's a pleasure.
Thank you. Right.